Hello, chat. God, I hate the damn thing. Doesn't always pop on. Anyways, good evening. Welcome to the show. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. Remember, I am an attorney in Cleveland, Ohio area. We're going to be talking about tonight some of the legal action involving President Trump, but also something that's come up, and I know some people have asked me before, and we're gonna address it involving Biden and his mental capacity issues. So, yes, once again, it is a somewhat chilly night here, so we've got the hoodie on. I got my hoodie on. And, we got a little bit of airflow here. So it's kind of like, we're kind of like Hannah Montana right now, chat. We got the best of both worlds going. We got the best of both worlds here. We are live tonight on YouTube and Twitter. Rumble's not working. I don't know what the deal is. I don't have time to fight it. So, programming note, I believe tomorrow night, I spoke to Bob Mata. They were having some issues with things, so we're actually going to do, I'll be on with the Defense Diaries tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, so I'll probably hang out till like 9:20 or so, and then I'll be back here to do the 9:30 show. If you guys are new, we have a Thursday night show, and held on Thursday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll go over quite a bit. There is an update to what's going on with Vince McMahon in his lawsuit with Janelle, as he's pooping in her hair. There's an update tangentially related to that. We got some SCOTUS updates on some cases that have gone on. We also have the Corporate Transparency Act is getting put on hold. Has AOC committed a crime? Because that's something a lot of people have been asking about. Has AOC committed a crime dealing with the immigration matters? And then kind of taking a look at like Amaranth and having her home invasion. I say quote unquote home invasion because I still think it's sus. Remember, this is a woman who made her career and made her millions bilking young men out of money thinking she was single, and then remember her like domestic violence arc that kind of turned out to be bogus. So we'll be getting to that stuff tomorrow, among other things, chat. So I think it'll be pretty good. All right. So before we get too far here, I'm going to see who's all going live. Yes. Winter Soldier says, I recommend sandwiches for weight control. They worked for Jared. Oh, buddy. Buddy. Eliza's saying, this makes me mad. Glad Sean's giving his opinion about it. Yeah, but once again, guys, the battle lines are being drawn. And I told you, remember what I said? What was going to happen? Nothing was going to happen. Some things did happen, though, and I kind of clickbait that title. So forgive me, chat, for I have sinned. I have clickbaited. But I did discuss some things that happened here. So I think it's important to get to here. So we're going to start off with the Supreme Court case and what this was. Now, this is the case involving a bunch of the funding freezes involving the AIDS advocacy organization. So if you guys remember, we talked about them previously. And the AIDS Vaccine Advocacy Coalition, you're like, I don't think there's an AIDS vaccine yet. So you're like, what is this about? And you're like, So you're like, what is this all about? Is there something Bill Gates has lied to everybody about? No. But this is where a bunch of the funding that's been going on has been out there. And, we're going to discuss what's going on here. We're going to discuss this because the court did what happened. So remember, this is one of the things where the TRO came out. The TRO was put into place. And this is the one where, as of last week, as of Wednesday, there was the 11:59 p.m. deadline. John Roberts stepped in and stayed everything. He put on a stay, told everybody, get your briefs in, make your arguments, and we'll take a look at stuff. And that's where things ended up. So I remember how I told you guys this isn't a big win. People are like, oh, it's a great thing. It's like, no, it's not as big as you guys think it would be. It's good, but it's a stop. Remember what I tell you was going to happen. The court's going to go timeout, and from there, the court enters an order. All right. So that was all that was. That was all that was. So when we go to the Supreme Court's page, and we're just going to use the Supreme Court's page here as an example of what happened. I think we went over this already. If we didn't, I will take a look at it for you guys. It's just a TRO. Well, that's not really the issue here. That's not really the issue here. So, colostomy bag for 14 months is TAD, total arachnid death. Very true. And also, thank you for being here. 14 months. I appreciate it, man. And for the long haul. Now, here's the issue. It's just a TRO. It's not appealable. Correct. That's been the general thing I've said the entire time. Temporary restraining orders, you're generally not allowed to appeal them because they're temporary in nature. And then a preliminary injunction is what a TRO could turn into, because it goes from a temporary to a permanent order. And we'll address the permanent orders because there's a permanent order we're going to talk about. Now, Popcorn Power is saying, I'll get to this in a minute. I'm going to get to all this in a second here for you guys. Now, the case itself ended up in front of the Supreme Court. And this is the case here, Department of State et al. Versus the AIDS Vaccine Coalition et al. Now, on February 26th, there was the order where, he ordered that it's all stayed pending further order of the court and that any response be filed before February 28, 2025. So remember, this was last week, and he said, look, we're putting it all on hold. Hold up. No orders can be enforced right now. So this has been filed. This is what we're talking about. That was the thing last week. We're going to take a pause. Now, the opinion came out today. The opinion says a lot. And if you guys aren't understanding what it's saying, well, we're going to start going into this because this opinion, this is not the time to doom. There's a lot here. There's a lot of unanswered stuff, but then there's also a lot of things that are promising. So if you're going to panic, I guess now's the time to panic. If you're going to try to pop champagne bottles, I really wouldn't do that yet. If you really are going to panic, breathe into a paper bag. That's my only recommendation for you. Get a grip. Get a grip. So this came out today, and it's the Supreme Court of the United States. Rumors the Barrett has NGO ties. Well, the biggest thing here, chat, I'll say about ACB is that from what I've been able to understand and know, Barrett has a major aversion to addressing interlocutory relief. And this is what it is, an interlocutory appeal. You're appealing something before it's permanent. And Barrett has repeatedly expressed her disdain for getting involved in these. I'm trying to good faith Gary this and white pill this, but who knows what we're looking at. So anyways, it's an application to vacate the order issued by the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. So remember, we're dealing with these people. The DDC, the District Court for the District of Columbia. So here's where it is. On February 13th, the District Court entered a TRO enjoining the government from enforcing directives, pausing disbursements of foreign development assistance funds. The present application does not challenge the government's obligation to follow that order. And that's a big thing here, chat. The government did not, and Trump did not, challenge the TRO. So the TRO itself has not been appealed. Now, we saw in other cases where the TRO was appealed, and the Supreme Court said, they said, it doesn't matter, we're going to sign off on it. But Trump and the gang did not challenge the TRO in this one. So it's never been addressed here. That's not part of the case. It says on February 25th, the District Court ordered the government to issue payments for a portion of the paused disbursements, those owed for work already completed, before the issuance of the restraining order by 11:59 on February 26th. Now, notice, we're going to get to an issue here about that order because the court's going to address the order itself. Now, several hours before the deadline, the government filed an application to vacate. The Chief Justice entered an administrative stay shortly before the deadline and subsequently referred the application to the court. We're going to explain why that's critical. But we'll move on for right now. The application is denied. And we're going to move on to the issues here. Given the deadline and the challenge order is now passed, and in light of the ongoing preliminary injunction proceedings, the district court should clarify what obligation the government must fulfill to ensure compliance with the TRO, with due regard for the feasibility of any compliance timelines. Now, that was the problem with the original underlying order. You have to approve everything by 11:59. We don't have a time to review stuff. And he said, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So Chief Justice Roberts, chat, is coming in here and saying, that's not correct. And you should, this is where John Roberts is a pussy. John Roberts is a pussy. He's got one eye on the court and he's got one eye on how things in the public will react to him. John Roberts went to all the nice schools. John Roberts has been part of the in crowd. He has been a federal judge. He gets to go to cocktail parties. He gets to wine and dine. People want to invite him to things. And when he's at things, people want to hear what he has to say because he doesn't upset them. Now, John Roberts is a pussy. Is he really worried about the governance? Is he worried about the Constitution? Or is he worried about what people in suburban Maryland are going to think of him at a cocktail party? It's really hard to tell with him, but I think that's very much what he does here. But this chat is the Supreme Court saying to the district court, you really need to think about what you've just done here. And as I've told you, chat, the court is starting to tire of this nonsense. The court is starting to tire, but he hasn't done enough yet. And this is the thing. So the order entered by the Chief Justice is vacated. So that's it. It's got to go back. Now, what does this mean? I think this means ultimately only the organizations that are listed as parties will be allowed to have their funding processed. Everybody else is going to get told to fuck off. Because once the court clarifies, it's going to immediately get appealed. So that's kind of the issue here. Now, Trump forced the issue, and it didn't work out. Now, there's ways around this. And a way he could do it is he could start slowballing it and start paying out little bit, but a little bit, but a little bit. It's like, we're just taking our time. We're following a procedure. We'll see what happens. Now, in response to that, there was a dissent filed. And this is where, guys, remember I told you with the last one, it was only Alito and Gorsuch who filed the dissent. The battle lines are being drawn. We have Alito, your boy Clarence, your boy Neil, and Brewski Brett. They join, dissenting from the denial of the application to vacate order. Remember, chat, you need 4 votes to be heard. These 4 would have been able to get it, but we were dealing with an application, so it wasn't a writ of certiorari. So it's John Roberts taking care of it. But these 4 right here are making their opinion known. And notice, they all start off with, Does a single district court judge who likely lacks jurisdiction, and jurisdiction was not argued yet. Jurisdiction has not been argued yet. And I assume that the DOJ and the Trump administration will be able to argue it at another point in time, but so far it has not been raised. And hopefully they can address it. Because jurisdiction is going to be the critical thing here. Probably. To quote the great Darrell Brooks, a lack of subject matter jurisdiction. Do they have the unchecked power to compel the government of the United States to pay out and probably lose forever $2 billion taxpayer dollars? And that was the biggest problem here, chat. This money would be paid out, and the court ordered pay everything that's in front of you. Well, what if they're not valid? Don't we have the right to check them? The judge said no. And the judge doesn't have that kind of authority. The answer to that question should be an emphatic no. But a majority of this court apparently thinks otherwise. I am stunned. Now, here's the issue. Right now, it's 5-4. And the majority of the court disagrees with the 4. Now, what does this mean? So you have Barrett, Roberts, Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson. That is the 5. That is the 5. Remember what I said. Barrett does not like interlocutory things. So hopefully she's not going to be a complete dumb cunt. And Roberts is trying his best to hold things together. But he's failing because this turns into a problem. By trying to avoid answering the difficult problems, he's caused more problems. The problems aren't going away. They're only getting worse. They're only building. They're only building. So we will yeah. So where are we at right now? Well, in capsule form, this is what happened. They're saying at its basic level, condensed, this is what happened. The respondents are a group of American businesses and nonprofits that receive foreign assistance funds from the State Department and the USAID. They brought suit and claimed the current administration's temporary pause is unlawful. They talk about the district court entered a temporary restraining order requiring the court to halt its funding. It based that decision on the finding the respondents are likely to exceed in showing the government violated the APA. It says, after issuing the TRO, the judge grew frustrated with the pace at which funds were being dispersed. And on February 25th, he issued a second order requiring the government to pay out $2 billion. The judge brushed aside the government's argument that sovereign immunity barred this enforcement order, and he took 2 steps that, unless corrected, would prevent any higher court from reviewing and possibly stopping the payments. First, he labeled it as a non-appealable TRO, and second, he demanded the money be paid within 36 hours. And that's where the midnight deadline came in. This left the government with little time to try to obtain some review of what it regarded as a lawless order, which it is. The government moved for a stay pending appeal in the district court, yes, but the judge shrugged off the government's sovereign immunity argument and ignored the government's representation that most of the money in question, once dispersed, could not be recovered. And that's true. Once it's gone, it's gone. The government filed an appeal in the District of Columbia for a court of appeals, but with only 4 hours to spare, the D.C. court dismissed the government's appeal because it took the TRO label at face value and determined it lacked appellate jurisdiction. With nowhere else to turn, the government asked this court to intervene. At the last moment, the Chief Justice issued an administrative stay. It says, unfortunately, a majority has now undone that stay. As a result, the government must apparently pay the $2 billion post haste, not because the law requires it, but simply because a judge ordered it. As the nation's highest court, we have a duty to ensure the power entrusted to federal judges by the Constitution is not abused. Today, the court fails to carry out that responsibility. Now, here's the thing, chat. All 4 of them signed on to this. As I said, remember, the court tires of these meddlesome, piddly dick district court judges. Who the fuck are they to get involved? You know, they look at this judge in DC and they look at him and they say, "You are nothing but a barking. Why do you bark at me like a junkyard dog? I'm the Supreme. I'm on the Supreme Court." And that is the issue we're facing now. And it says time does not allow a lengthy discussion of the legal issues presented by this case. And there are a lot of legal issues. One of them, like I said, is jurisdiction. That'll be addressed at the lower court. But for right now, it was never brought up here, so they didn't get to it. They say the brief summary suffices to show the district court's order should be vacated or at the very least stayed. To start, it is clear the government's enforcement should be construed as an appealable preliminary injunction and not a mere TRO. When they say a TRO, as the name suggests, is temporary, and its proper role is to restrain challenge conduct for a short while the court considers whether lasting relief is warranted. And remember, chat, once again, you have Wright and Cooper. You have Wright and you have Miller. You have Wright, Miller, and Cooper. This is the federal practice of procedure. Remember, chat, this is the Bible of civil procedure and the federal practice. I think when you looked it up, it's $12,000 for the whole set. The order here, which commanded the payment of a vast sum that in all likelihood can never be fully recovered, is in no sense temporary. Yeah, that's an irreversible harm. Nor did the order merely restrain the government's challenge actions in order to preserve the status quo. And that's a big thing here. Are we preserving the status quo? No, we're not. And this is from the Sixth Circuit. And they say, rather, it acts as a mandatory injunction requiring affirmative action by the government. And they say, and given it is likely irreversible, the district court's enforcement order effectively gave the respondents a portion of the ultimate relief they seek. And that's true. This temporary injunction is a final judgment because once they get their money, they can fuck off with it. They say, for these reasons, the Court of Appeals had jurisdiction to consider the government's appeal, and we have jurisdiction to review and summarily vacate that court's erroneous judgment. And they say, even if the majority is unwilling to vacate the order, it should at least stay the order until the government's able to petition for a writ of certiorari. In considering whether to issue such a stay, we ask at a minimum, whether the moving party is likely to prevail on the merits, and 2, whether that moving party is likely to suffer irreparable harm. Now, notice what they're doing here. They say, to the extent that likelihood of certiorari is a relevant factor, and they cite a case that Justice Barrett did, concurring, it is met here. Recent years have seen a sharp increase in district court orders enjoining important government initiatives, and some of these have been labeled as unappealable TROs. See Dellinger versus Dissent. Remember, chat, that's Hampton Dellinger, the special counsel. We're going to get to him. Clarification of the standards for distinguishing between a TRO and a preliminary injunction is a matter that deserves the court's attention at the present time. The same is true regarding the scope of the APA's waiver of sovereign immunity. This is their way of saying they want to make some big changes, and they're not happy. They go on to talk about, though, in close cases, we can also take into account other equitable considerations. Here, these factors weigh in favor of a stay. When they say the government has shown a likelihood of success on the merits of its arguments that sovereign immunity deprived the district court of jurisdiction to enter the enforcement order. Sovereign immunity bars a suit by private parties seeking to impose a liability which must be paid from public funds in the Treasury. So if you guys were wondering, that's what they're seeking and that's what they're arguing here. But that is exactly what the district court ordered. The restrained defendants shall pay all invoices and letters of credit drawdown requests on all contracts for work completed prior to the entry of the TRO on February 13th. Now, sovereign immunity can be waived. You can waive it. If you're a party, you can waive your immunity. And sometimes the government will waive sovereign immunity. So, they say, but to sustain a claim the government is liable for awards of monetary damages, the waiver of sovereign immunity must extend unambiguously to such monetary claims. And they say, attempting to satisfy this strict requirement, the respondents point out to the Administrative Procedures Act waiver of sovereign immunity for certain actions seeking relief other than monetary damages, but they want monetary damages. That language, as we have explained, distinguishes between specific relief, which is permitted under the APA, and compensatory or substitute relief, which is not. Now, compensatory means you're being paid, you're being compensed. It's they're pointing out this is very straightforward. This is very straightforward. But the relief here more resembles a compensatory monetary judgment rather than an order for specific relief that might have been available in equity. Remember, chat, we've mentioned this before, but the Supreme Court has said, if you're seeking monetary damages, that's not equity. Equity is a specific action that needs to be performed. So the government has to do something. And that's not the equity they're seeking. An injunction to compel the payment of money past due under a contract or a specific performance of a past due monetary obligation was not typically available in equity. And remember, chat, if you're seeking that type of thing, that is a remedy at law. It's not a remedy in equity. And we talked about this previously with Hampton Dellinger, that you should be stuck with only the things available, typically available at the founding, as far as what's equity and what's law. And seeking payment would have been at law, not in equity, which is where a TRO is. A TRO is an equitable resolution of things. So the court goes further to say sovereign immunity thus appears to bar the sort of compensatory relief that the district court ordered here. Hoping to escape that conclusion, the respondents point to Bowen v. Massachusetts. In that case, we held the APA's waiver of sovereign immunity covered a district court's judgment reversing a final order of HHS refusing to reimburse Massachusetts for certain Medicaid expenditures. Oh, no, Clyde must have had an issue there. Unlike the district court's order here, that judgment did not purport to order that any payment be made by the United States. Rather, Bowen simply recognized a basic reality of the APA's review. After a court sets aside an agency action, a natural consequence may be the release of funds, chat, no cooming, the release of funds to the plaintiff down the road. They say, indeed, we've clarified that Bowen has no bearing on the unavailability of an injunction to enforce a contractual obligation to pay past due monies. Excuse me, chat. Ooh, excuse me. They say the sort of relief that appears to have been ordered here, which I agree, it's the same sort of relief. The district court, however, failed to mention and much less reckon with Bowen or Knudsen before plowing ahead with its $2 billion order. This is their point of saying he just did what he wanted. Say, in order to take into account any of our previous suggestions, the proper remedy for an agency's recalcitrant failure, recalcitrant, Russell Greer's favorite word, to pay out and maybe seek specific sums already calculated in the Court of Federal Claims. And the Court of Federal Claims is where you go when you have a contract dispute with the government. especially when you're owed money. You sue in the court of claims, just like we talked about way back, chat, with the Zelle case, in the Office of Office of Personnel Management, the OPM case with the unions, and they're like, we're losing our money. Well, these workers, go file in the court of claims. Go work your statutory remedies. Don't use the TRO. So once again, this is an abuse. And imagine that. We're abusing it again, chat. And remember, this is the constitutional crisis. This stuff is the constitutional crisis that's brewing. Now, it says, invoking the First Circuit's suggestion that if an agency persists in withholding under the APA, the remedy would be for a suit of money past due under the Tucker Act in the Court of Claims. Now, this is a scathing rebuke here. The most that can be said is the district court's denial of the government's motion for a stay pending appeal. It cited but did not analyze a handful of cases echoing Bowen's discussion of the APA's conscribed waiver of sovereign immunity. One might expect more care from a federal court before it so blithely discards sovereign immunity. Ooh, buddy. Hella, how are you doing? It says everyone gives Sean lots of money and hugs. Well, lots of money's great. I don't necessarily want hugs, but, you know, like, all right. I'd really rather not have that. So I'll leave that up to you, chat. Hold on here. Hold on here, chat. Somebody sent me something. Hold on here. I gotta move this to inbox. There we go. All right. So they're citing cases here, and they're pointing out that finally, the government has a strong argument the district court orders violates a principle that a federal court may not issue equitable remedy that is more burdensome to the defendant than necessary. They say in this case, it's an enforcement of a universal injunction defying these foundational limits on equitable jurisdiction. And notice they're citing Gorsuch, and this is where these guys are going to cite each other. Now, they called out Barrett, and they're going into there. And it says the district court ordered the government to pay all invoices and letters of credit on all contracts for pre-TRO work. And it says that order encompasses more than just the respondents. And the district court offered no reason why universal relief to non-parties is appropriate here. And that's very critical. This is not the sort of case in which only universal relief is feasible. It said even supposing the APA allows for universal vacator of rules in some circumstances, the order of direct monetary payments bear no resemblance to that. From Justice Kavanaugh. So these guys in chat, if you're worried any of these guys are going to flip, they're not going to flip. They pulled out their shovels. They pulled out their feldspattens, chat. They are digging in. They are digging foxholes. I can tell you that much. So, it says, and nobody has suggested the government is unable to identify respondents' allegedly owed funds and pay out only them. Now, that's the thing. The government's not saying we can't figure out who these guys are or what we're owed to them. They can do it, and they should be allowed to. So limiting the scope of relief in that manner would be significant. Below the government represented, respondents seek roughly $250 million. It's still a large sum, but a fraction of the $2 billion ordered. They say the harm to other parties. This is another factor in a TRO. Remember, chat. The government has shown it's likely to suffer irreparable harm. The government is represented, it would not probably be able to recover much of the money after it's paid because it would be quickly dispersed and spent. And the district court didn't say that this was not correct. And they say, we usually balance equities and weigh the relative harm in close cases. And they say, for the reasons I've explained, this is not a case like that. And our analysis can end there. They say, nevertheless, the respondent's equitable arguments are insufficient to justify the denial of a stay. They contend the failure to pay would result in irreparable harm because without those funds, they cannot continue to operate or would have to reduce the work they do. As a result, they would suffer. Suffer! These potential consequences are, of course, serious. But any harm resulting from failure to pay amounts the law requires would have been diminished, if not eliminated, if the Court of Appeals had promptly decided the merits of the government's appeal, which it should not have dismissed. If we set this case back, it could render a prompt decision. If it decided in favor of the respondents, the government would still be obligated to pay all the money that is due, and respondents would have suffered only a short delay in the receipt of payments. And if the government prevailed on its sovereign immunity arguments, neither the respondents nor any of the recipients of their services would have suffered any unlawful consequences. And they say, in sum, the factors we consider in deciding whether to issue a stay weigh strongly in favor of granting that relief. And they say, the court makes a most unfortunate misstep that rewards an act of judicial hubris. Chat, there we go. That's that word. I've mentioned it before. Hubris. Hubris. Don't just, it's not bris, but it's a hubris. The excessive pride. Braggadociousness and bravado. It's the thing, chat. In the Greek plays, we talked about this before. The Greek plays, the fates and the gods, they detest nothing more than hubris. And they punish those full of hubris. And they felt them. And the court is saying here that's an example of it. The district court has made plain its frustration with the government, and the respondents raised serious concerns about non-payment for completed work. But the relief ordered is quite simply too extreme a response. A federal court has many tools to address a party's supposed nonfeasance. Self-aggrandizement of its jurisdiction is not one of them. I would chart a different path than the court does today, so I must respectfully dissent. So there you go, chat. It's a 5-4 decision. Ultimately. So what does this mean? This means a lot of things, actually. There's a lot here. There's a lot here to look at. Now, it's got to go back down. The court has to clarify what it's going to do. Now, at that point, it's probably going to be coming back up because we know he's going to grant the preliminary injunction, and it's going to have to come back up to the Supreme Court. For now, though, as I've told you and I've kind of hinted at, the Supreme Court is probably starting to tire of this shit. Roberts and Barrett and the majority only addressed the issue, but Alito and Gorsuch, they addressed this. The dissenters, they touched on the problem. And honestly, I honestly think the court is getting really fucking angry with these. But for right now, it's 5-4. Does that mean Barrett is going to be involved? I don't know. I don't know where she's going to go. I don't know how this shakes out. What does that mean for John Roberts? The man's a coward. The man is a coward with one eye on the history books and one eye on the polls and Twitter. And he's got one eye on the pulse of the elite, the glitterati in DC. So I don't know where he wants to go. Sergeant Dornan says, is this for services or work already rendered, right? Yes, but the way the court ordered it, he said pay everything immediately. You don't get to check anymore. So that caused problems because they're not allowed to check and make sure all the work's legit. These are properly timely filed. It's not fraud. Remember, these courts aren't allowing to do their jobs. So yes, the judge said pay everything, and it's like you don't have that authority. And also, the biggest thing here is not everybody's a party to the lawsuit. You're not entitled to relief. As I said, chat, this is the judicial coup. This is the constitutional crisis. You know, people are wondering, is there a crisis? Yes. All these lawsuits and the people pushing it are pushing a coup. They are pushing an assault on the judiciary, which is then being used to assault the presidency. This is an assault on Article 2. And at this point, I think there's a massive problem. I think there's a massive problem here. Because we do get to the issue of, should the president defy court orders? Now, I know people like Ron Coleman, Shipwreck Coup are saying you shouldn't do that, but at some point, it's a court order is a piece of paper to say, well, I've got a piece of paper that says I could do something. I mean, was the issue in Korematsu that we should have said, well, the Supreme Court said it's done, therefore it should have been settled? No, we would say people should have resisted that. But these are unlawful orders. They are not based in anything other than Orange Man bad. And I hope to God these come back and they get fucking spanked. I don't know what's going to happen, though, but we know for sure there's 4. We know for sure there's 4 against it. Is that 4 going to turn into 6? I don't know. Is it going to turn into 5? I don't know. I just don't know, chat. I just don't know. Just don't know yet, chat. This is the scary part. We don't know yet. But now's not the time for fear. That comes later. That comes later. Remember, chat, I told you what was going to happen. We are going to find out about the limits of fucking Article 2 before the summer. And I think we're coming up on it. And we're going to see it. So, I have a massive problem. Yes, it's nothing o'clock for now, but we'll see. David Holt said, sorry, couldn't join until Uncivil ended his stream. Well, thank you for being here, David. I appreciate it. Appreciate anybody who came over from Kurt. Hope Kurt was doing well. What was Kurt talking about tonight? I don't even know. Was he talking about Carry On Red? Was that what he was at? Try not to be. Oh, he just got done talking about USAID. Okay. Now, what is this going to mean? For right now, nothing. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. Do I hope the courts do what needs to be done? I don't know. I don't know. But the idea that we need to just keep abiding. Oh, and it's a ruling. We got to follow it. Yeah, J-Rock, I'm getting to the point where it's like, yeah, sorry, we're fucking back. You fucking enforce your order, Judge. It's kind of where we are. It's kind of where we are. Disobedience to tyranny is obedience to God. But yes, these people are disobedient. They are unfaithful judges who are not upholding their end of the bargain. They are acting without the rule of law to support them. I thought he was wrong about the ability to just ignore the order since jurisdiction wasn't decided on the merits. Well, I still think Trump's safe. Now here's the thing. Everything is still on pause till the judge makes a ruling. Because they're telling the judge he needs to clarify shit. He's going to have to clarify stuff. This is only valid until the 10th, so he's going to have to get on his horse and go. Yes, he made his ruling. Let him enforce it. Yes. Are we to the Jacksonian level of things now? Maybe. Maybe. I hate to say we might be there. But there is some inspiration here with courts. There is some inspiration here at courts. There is one thing that's positive tonight. Now, on that note, there is some suffering that's going to happen here, chat. And this is the case involving Hampton Dellinger. Remember, chat, he is the Office of Special Counsel. Remember, the Office of Special Counsel is in charge of basically protecting federal government employees when they're whistleblowing and other violations of law that affect the federal workforce. So this came out today, and it's from the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Now, remember, the D.C. Circuit has its own Court of Appeals. And what do we have here? Hampton Dellinger, in his personal capacity as Special Counsel in the Office of Special Counsel, versus Scott Bessent as Secretary of Treasury et al. So there's an order here, chat. There is an order. And it says, upon consideration of the emergency motion for a stay, and also real quick, chat, we need to go back to, remember, the Supreme Court said, nope, we're not doing it. It went back down to the D.C. courts. The district court said, your temporary injunction is now a permanent injunction. Hampton Dellinger gets to stay, and you can't do anything about it until his term ends, or he's able to be removed for cause. So that was appealed up to the D.C. Circuit. And this is something I didn't expect to happen. This is something I didn't expect to happen here. But they say in response to the consideration for a stay pending appeal, and the opposition there too, and letter in response there too, and the consent motion to participate as amicus curiae filed by the Separation of Powers Clinic and the lodged. Hold on here. What is this chat? So, and the lodged amicus brief, the corrected amici brief lodged by the states, which is construed to contain a motion to participate. The motion to participate, all this other shit that happened here, and by the Government Accountability Project, okay, blah, 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 blah. It's ordered the motions to lead participate are granted. Cool. Is this really important? Yeah. Yeah. But now here's the thing. Here is the thing, chat. It's further ordered that the emergency motion for a stay pending appeal be granted, and the district court's March 1st order to be stayed pending further order of the court. Except to the extent that order vacates the TRO entered by the district court on February 12th. So you might say, what does that mean? Well, this order gives effect to the removal of the appellee from his position as special counsel of the Office of Special Counsel. Suffer out there, chat. Wow. No, chat. In chat. Yes. What does that say? I had to quote the great Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the former chairman of World Wrestling Entertainment. You're fired. Yes, chat. Yes. No, actually, something pretty big fucking happened. Pretty big fucking happened. This is a pretty big fucking happening. So, like, he got removed. Now, the appellants have satisfied the stringent requirements for a stay pending appeal. Yes, he's removed. An opinion will follow in due course. And it's further ordered that the court's own motion, this case, be expedited. The briefing schedule will apply. The appellants have till March 21st. The chat, if you're trying to figure out, the appellants are Scott Bissent. The appellees get to April 4th, and the appellants get to reply by April 11th. The clerk has directed a calendar this case for all our arguments for this term on the first appropriate date following the completion of briefing. The parties will be informed later the date of oral argument and the composition of the merits panel. Appellant should raise all issues and arguments in the opening brief. The court will not ordinarily consider issues and arguments raised for the first time in the reply brief. Notice they're telling him, you get the chance to fucking go all out. Normally you can only argue, raise everything. Everything gets raised. Normally we don't consider stuff raised for the first time in the reply brief. They're saying it, chat. They're saying, bring them out, bring them out, bring them out, bring them out, which is surprising. I thought they'd say, to us, suffer, but they're not. They're not. James says, this something or nothing. Oh, no, this is a big happening. Hampton Dellinger got fired. He's gone, chat. He's gone. Skadoosh with the drone strike. He's out. He got yeeted. Article 2 means something, apparently. This is a good thing. This is a happening. This is a big one. Apparently, the DC Circuit has some balls. And they say to enhance the clarity of their briefs, parties are urged to limit the use of abbreviations, including acronyms. While acronyms may be used for entities and statutes with widely recognized initials, briefs should not contain acronyms that are not widely known. And they're arguing the DC Circuit of practice and internal procedure. Chat, remember, every court's got local rules. Parties are strongly encouraged to hand-deliver the paper copies of their briefs to the clerk's office on the due date. Filing by mail may delay the processing of the brief. And, remember, chat, you can always file like the day it's due. You can mail it, but it takes time. So if you're filing by mail, they must use a class of mail that is at least expeditious as first-class mail. That's the federal rules of appellate procedure. Meaning you can't just go, priority mail with tracking, thank you. No, you can't do that. All briefs must contain the date the case is scheduled for oral argument at the top of the cover, which they will get notified of. And it says per curiam, meaning by the entire court. So it's before Henderson, Millen, and Walker. They all agree. This is big, you guys. This is big. This is big. Watch her on the web. How you doing, buddy? Stop. I'm doing great, man. How are you guys doing? Guys, watch her on the web along with Scott and Joe Dolio. Hong Kong. Old Hong Kong. Blaine Pardo. Who else is over there at times? A lot of people. The whole gang, chat. The whole gang. Stan, the Virginia gentleman, all over at Future Conflicts chat every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. over here on YouTube. And then Fridays, they go over to Rumble and hang out at Bongino's where they could do a little bit more out there. So that's an awesome, yes, a whole motley crew, yes. Popcorn Power is saying, wait, what happened here? Yes, okay, so let me explain it. Let me explain this if I didn't make it clear before. Okay. This case went up to the Supreme... You know what? Hold on. We'll do the whiteboard. Okay, we'll do the whiteboard thing. We'll do the whiteboard. Okay, chat. Hold on here. This is... All right. Okay. All right, here's what happened. The visual aids, yeah. I almost threw up a Roman there. Almost. All right. Okay, so here's what happened. You have Hold on, chat. I'm trying to write this out. Trying to write this out, chat. Hold on. Okay. All right, chat. So the way this is set up, here, you can see it, right? Hold on. I gotta be able to see this and explain it to you. Okay. So the lawsuit got filed. Which led to the TRO, right? And then from the TRO, it got appealed to the DC Circuit. And then from there, it went up to SCOTUS. Okay. Now, SCOTUS said, no, we ain't handling this. And it went all the way back down to the district court. Okay. Now, from there, the district court ruled on it and made it a permanent injunction. And now this has been reappealed up to the DC Circuit. So this is kind of what's happened here, if this makes sense. And this may not be the most logical flow chart, but that's what happened. The TRO became a permanent, I got to do this without looking here, became a permanent injunction. And now it's back up to the DC Circuit. Does that make sense? Popcorn Power? That's kind of where we are. So, yeah, he's done. Peter Key says, I'm loving Blaine Pardo's Land and Sea. Oh, good. We'll get to that in a second here. Cut him some slack. He's a lefty and big boned. Yeah, well, my handwriting's going to suck. I've got pretty good handwriting. Oh, you're telling me that sucks? That's some good fucking handwriting compared to a lot of people, let me tell you. If I had time to write it out, I would, but you guys can't wait that long. So that is where we are. So Hampton Dellinger is out, meaning he's not going to be able to get his job back. That was a temporary order. And even the DC Circuit's like, yeah, no, you can't. Remember, the DC Circuit initially was like, fuck you, we're not addressing this. But now that it's happening, they're kind of like, yeah, I don't really think you can have that, bro. So they kind of went ahead and went like, sorry, Dellinger, you can get money back, but that's it. So that's the good news, chat. That's the good news here. That is phenomenal news, I would argue. That is phenomenal news. It's serious when he brings out the board. Well, I don't have, I wish there was a whiteboard mode in this where I could draw, but it doesn't work, and that's okay. So he's fired, but he's appealing. Well, at this point, he's been fired, and he's appealing the removal. But at this point, all he can get is damages. He can get money. He's not entitled to be reinstated. The Supreme Court, the DC Circuit's kind of making that clear. Because remember, the Supreme Court has said you're not entitled normally to a reinstatement. So he's not going to be able to get back in. And this is where we're going to have, this is probably going to be the Article 2 showdown case, chat. Mark in your calendars now. I think I said this before. This is the one that's going all the way. This is the one that's going all the way, chat. This one is my lock of the week. This is the lock of the week. It's going all the way. This one's going all the way to Supreme Court. So, where is the spot I pay taxes for all of this? Well, I don't know. You need, that was some pretty good wiper work. Thanks, J-Rock. 2.0 needs to be in charge of the flow charts. Well, she kind of does stuff like that for work. My tattoo artist is left-handed, yeah. Panzer Dude says my handwriting is a girl's. Okay. My former elected one of the prosecutors I worked for actually said that to me. He's like, you got a handwriting like a girl's. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean, dude. My handwriting's pretty he's like, just the way it flows. It's kind of like a girl's handwriting. And I'm like, do you want me to start putting little hearts over the eyes and stuff? I started trolling him. And he's like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, why is it got to be a girl's? And it's funny because one of the girls in the office I worked at, she's like, Well, what does that mean? It's got to be like a girl. Started giving him shit for it, but yeah, that's a funny thing. You're not the first person to say that. I know Sarah Boone. Yeah. John Roberts was like, we punt. Dellinger was on 1st and 10, and the DC court's like, sorry, you're tossed. Yes, but we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna see how this goes, chat. But this is actually a big win. Did I just draw an MS Paint like Destiny? Yeah, I don't really want to do that because it's Destiny does it. Brimstone said he's appealing in the wrong court. No, I mean, this is where you got to go. Remember, this is another interlocutory order, chat. So the way the normal case would go, if it's going to follow its initial path, like here, hold on, we're going to keep going with this. So the way this is supposed to go, chat, in a normal case, if there were no interlocutory orders, it would go very differently. So this is the way it should go. You've got the lawsuit, you got the complaint, the TRO, the preliminary injunction, you have discovery, then you have motions, then you have a trial, and then you get a ruling. And if you don't like the ruling, you then come back down here and start an appeal. You come back down here, you start your appeal, you appeal up to the DC Circuit, all the way up on to SCOTUS. That's not what happened here. This is another interlocutory appeal. Now, unlike Nick, where he tried to do an interlocutory appeal in Minnesota, they're like, no, we ain't doing that. This is the type of thing where basically the Supreme Court and the DC Circuit are going to entertain the interlocutory appeals that happen because these are pretty fucking serious. We can't just let the case play out. Like, there are real fucking questions that have to be addressed. So that's why they're doing it. No, they appealed in the right place. They went to the right court. Glenn Beck, we hardly knew ye. Well, yeah, he's gonna have to take the stacks and fuck off. He's gonna have to. Paige Clyde didn't get him to do that board. Were you writing with a gel pen? No, with a dry erase marker. So that's where we are. That's where we are. Iman says, I was really wild back in the day. What? Use Excel, that'd be neato. Yeah, well. So that is where we are right now, chat. That is where we are. That's the good news. That's the good news. Even the DC Circuit's like, yeah, I don't like this. It's not a good idea. Erica says, I'm thankful for the flowchart. It says TTD, time to suck dick. Well, oh my God. So, that's where we are. But remember, every time Brimstone says you file with the Merit Systems Protection Board. I'm sorry if you said the government did the wrong thing. I agree. That's where Hampton Dellinger should have gone. But remember, there are times where people have been removed from their roles that are protected by congressional law, and they file in court and they just get their fucking pay. I don't think he necessarily should have had to use the Merit Systems Protection Board here. I think it's okay that he did it. What is your thing with that word? Which one? Interlocutory or which one? I don't know. I asked, no one responded. Which thing here? So why does that have to be a whiteboard? Because we then sully it with all the colored things. We overtake it. So And JC Adult says, where are we? Where? Okay. So in this case, right now, this case has been put on hold at the preliminary injunction stage. So we're still stuck. We're right here. We're at this point in the case. The preliminary injunction. That's as far as we've gotten. So really not that far. Not that far at all. Okay, now you guys are just being dicks. Did I file a TRO against Trump? Yes. You're not being based enough, Donnie. I filed an injunction. He's not J-damming enough government employees. And the court's like, Mr. Martin, do you mean getting rid of him? I'm like, no! Hitting him with J-dams! Like, really? Just like, do you mean in the ring? No, in real life. So I wrote upside down. I was circling stuff, so it's okay. Yamal says, who's the judge for this case? Is this the in the DC court that just ruled Hampton had to go, right? Remember, now it's up there. It's up there. It's up in the DC circuit, and now this is going to go back up to the Supreme Court. So we're going to, like I said, guys, we're getting there. We're getting there. So, yes, watcher, in your house? No, in real life. I'm coming to kill you, Hassan Piker. Oh. Yes, wait until they file something that he has to attack Russia. Yes. Yes, release the supersonic telephone poles. Yes, just right in the middle of DC. Okay, not necessarily the same judge. No, the district court judge is still the same judge. The district court judge is always going to be the same. I don't believe these are the same judges who did the initial appeal that then went up to the Supreme Court. That's different, if that's what you're asking. But the trial judge who handles it is going to keep it. That's never going to change here. So, if that makes sense, Yamal, I hope that if that's not clear, it's not clear. And then moving on from here, guys, this is a thing that's been filed. It's something that came up, and I know like Danny On's been talking about it. I'm just telling you guys, like, this is not going to be a thing here. We're not going to be able to make fetch happen, chat. Jarak says, what were the three judges' names? It was Judges Henderson, Millett, and Walker. Like Captain Walker. It was Henderson, Millett, and Walker as circuit judges. So this is good news, chat. Good news. Danny says, how much is Hampton Dellinger getting paid? I don't know. Hampton Dellinger's salary. How much does the Office of Special Counsel make? Well, he worked for Boyce Schiller. He made like $300,000 a year as a partner there. Hold on here. Special Counsel salary. The average salary, the highest of the Office of Special Counsel, the average salary was $113,000. Okay. How much is it? They're not saying specifically here. It's going to be a couple $100,000. So he's a GS-15 at least, unlike a certain failed patent attorney. Oh, guys, stop. I don't know. I mean, technically he's SES probably. He's probably senior executive service. Yes, Millett was Obama, Walker was Trump, and the last was George W. Bush. Yeah, so even the Obama judge is like, brother, I don't think this is a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. So now, real quick, chat. We're gonna I'll get to super chats at the end here, just because we got to get this one thing done. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, you guys, but this is what's going to happen. This is more nothing happens o'clock. So this is from the Attorney General of Missouri, Andrew Bailey. He's sending it out to Michael Horowitz, the Office of Inspector General, who's a complete cuck. Remember him with the Russia investigation, investigating the investigators. And it's regarding the legality of presidential actions in light of Biden's mental decline. It says, Dear Mr. Horowitz, I write to request you conduct a full investigation into Biden's mental capacity in his final days in office. By now, his mental decline is famous. You could probably, it's more like infamous. Under the 25th Amendment, his ability to make decisions should have meant a succession of power. It should have, but it didn't happen because his people never did it. So they never raised the 25th Amendment. Can't do anything about it. They say, instead, it appears staffers and officers in the Biden administration may have exploited Biden's incapacity so they can issue orders without an accountable president of sound mind approving them. That would explain why the Biden administrative orders were aggressively much farther to the left than any previous president. If, in fact, Biden staffers were exploiting his decline, those orders are null and void. No, they're not. No, they're not, chat. They are what they are. Can't go. The train ain't coming back off the tracks, man. You leave that way, you never go back. It's over. It's over. It's very much like here's a great example I'll use real quick. And I'm going to explain this in a way everybody here understands. So the ban on machine guns, private ownership of machine guns, 18 U.S.C. 922-0, was part of the Firearms Owners Protection Act in 1986. And it was part of what was called the Hughes Amendment. And you can watch it on YouTube. The Hughes Amendment got passed. And we'll bring it up here. We'll bring it up. The Hughes Amendment vote. Here we go. We are going to.
There are 4 minutes remaining on all amendments.
This is Charlie Rangel from Michigan, if you guys don't know him. This is Charlie Rangel. Or no, he's from New York. Charlie Rangel, though. Remember, chat, this is 1986.
Vote the substitute, and all amendments that have not been made to the Volcker substitute would not be recognized.
Mr. Chairman,
It is not in order. We can't hear. The committee is not in order. The committee is not in order. We can't hear a thing.
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk. Mr. Chairman,
The committee will be in order. The chair's
parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman. Explain to me under the rules of the House and under this debate, for amendments not able to be discussed within the next 240 seconds.
And that's unfortunate.
It's
an important matter. My unanimous consent.
So here we go. They talk about amending it, and I can't.
Seriously, Chairman, I have a.
So here's what happened. Yes, he was Rush Limbaugh's favorite target. You can't hear a damn thing they said in the first 30 seconds. Yeah, but anyways, it got passed. There was a voice vote for it. There was a voice vote for the Hughes Amendment. And here's how it went. All in favor? Yay. All in favor? Nay. Lots of nays. It got shouted down. And Charlie Rangel gavelled it and said the yays have it. And everybody started screaming and hollering. And they said, wait. We'll take care of it later. We'll take care of it later. And you know what the courts have said? It passed the internal rules of the House. We aren't getting involved in that. That's a political issue. So if you guys ever want to see it, you can watch the whole thing here. Let me see if this shows up. Let me see.
It's on the adoption of the Hughes Amendment to the Volcker substitute.
Okay, here we go. Yes, here we go. Amon Rosa says you can just do that. Yeah. Yeah, later never came. Here we go.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Let go. Let go.
Mr. Chairman.
Let go. You got it.
Mr.
Question.
You heard them. Let it go. Let it go. We'll get it later. There was never a later, chat. There was never a later. There was never a later. So that's something you need to understand here. They're not, this is not going to, there is no going backsies on it. There is no going backsies on it. Yes, Reagan signed it. Yes, Reagan did a lot of shit. Reagan disenfranchised open carry because they were scared of black folks showing up with guns in the state capitol. So there you go. Just so you guys understand, that's why it's never coming back. That clearly wasn't done right, and it didn't fucking matter. So the states need to know because those orders affect us. They does. For example, the Biden White House purported to vacate the death sentences of several convicted murderers who committed their crimes in Missouri. As the Supreme Court recently held, states like Missouri could criminally try individuals under state law, even if they were already prosecuted under federal law. Yes. And that is true because there's the dual sovereigns. States like Missouri need to know whether to pursue that or similar paths. They say Biden was forced to drop out of the race because of his obvious decline. But this decline was evident even before then. As Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, recently reported, Biden did not know what orders he was signing. In January 2024, when Johnson asked Biden about a moratorium on energy exports to Europe, which that is hilarious about the moratorium on energy exports. It's like, suffer Europe. You cut yourself off of Russian natural gas, and then we're going to fucking cut you off from our natural gas. Suffer Europe. You're a vassal state, bitch. That's what we just did. That's what we just did. That's what's going on there. And we move on to the second page. It says Johnson asked Biden about a moratorium. Biden informed Johnson he thought he merely signed an order authorizing authorizing a study on exports. Destiny's favorite thing, authorizing a study. Do you have a study for that? In addition, last February, Special Counsel Robert Hur released his report, and what was described as the loudest public alarm about Joe Biden's mental acuity. Special Counsel Hur described Biden as an elderly man with a poor memory who could not even remember when he was vice president, or even the several years when his son, Beau, passed away. Remember, chat, Beau Biden has died a million deaths, according to Joe. And here's the thing, if Johnson knew about this, fucking impeach the motherfucker. Impeach his ass if he won't be removed. Biden cannot even form a mens rea for allegedly criminal activity, a low bar. How can anyone have confidence he had the capacity to make decisions as chief executive of the United States? Too late. Too late. Can't do anything about it. It's like a bullet out of a gun, chat. It's gone. You literally can't go back and void out the entire 4 years. Sorry. I just pulled a Biden, yes. Yes. So, yes, the toothpaste is out of the tube and we're out of syringes. Yes. There are profound reasons to suspect that Biden's staff and political allies exploited his mental decline to issue purported orders without his knowing approval. You're going to have to prove that. In addition, Speaker Johnson's recounting of Biden completely misunderstanding the document he signed. Those close to Biden appear to have worked hard to hide his decline. That's true. So they could retain influence they would not otherwise have had. Very true. For example, Speaker Johnson reported that staff and elected officials, including Kamala Harris and former Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, tried to prevent Johnson from meeting with Biden. Though presidents have always had gatekeepers, the walls around him were higher and the controls greater. according to Democratic lawmakers, donors, aides who work for Biden and other administrations. Yes. They say staff limited his ability to speak with others and limited the sources of information he consumed. Prominent national DNC fundraiser Lindy Lee recently acknowledged that Biden was not in charge. Rather, the people who ran our country for the last 4 years were his staff, his wife, and his son, Hunter Biden. It's the reason why all those people got pardons. Finally, there's a streak of extraordinarily far-left orders issued by Biden. Well, here's the problem. Just saying, oh, went left, he could have decided to go full leftist. That's not helpful to say, oh, that's not normally like him. Yeah, but chat, it's the same way where, like, if Grandma Dolores writes her will, then all of a sudden she says, fuck it, it all goes to Jimmy. They're like, well, she's never done that before. She's allowed to do it. The problem is you're going to have to show why that's abnormal for her. So, yeah, that's what happened here, chat. Then finally, the last page. It says, granting his son Hunter Biden a blanket pardon, not going back more than 10 years, despite promising he wouldn't do so. Endorsing the legally frivolous theory the ERA was timely ratified. Yeah, I think those were clearly some intern got a hold of the phone and was trying to tweet. Indeed, apparently in reliance on far-left groups, Biden pardoned or commuted the sentences of 2,500 individuals whom he described as nonviolent, but gave clemency to people like Adrian Peeler, who killed a mother and her 8-year-old child. This, plus a notion of other orders that Biden purportedly issued, but never supported before his mental decline, strongly suggests exploitation by staffers and officials who wanted to promulgate far-left policies. Probably, here's the thing, chat. I 100% agree this shit fucking happened. Problem is, nothing we can do about it. This is black letter law that a document is void ab initio when a person signing it lacks mental capacity. Yeah, but you're not going to get that. That's why the 25th Amendment authorizes power to pass to the vice president when the president lacks mental capacity. Yep. Problem is, they didn't use the 25th Amendment. What are they going to say? I didn't think it was necessary. Remember, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to you saying, I don't think it's necessary. So guess what? It's not used. Boom. I hate to say it. Like, I know Danny on and all these people want shit to happen. I'm telling you guys, it can't happen. It's not going to happen. Sadly. I'm very sad to say that. I wish I could tell you guys something else, but I can't. Okay? I'm very sorry about that. That is why the 25th Amendment authorizes power to pass to the vice president when the president lacks mental capacity. Okay. If in fact this had been occurring, then all those orders are void. Yeah, I don't think so. Danny has no principle. Danny has principles. I think she does. I just, I think that she wants to do this, and I wish, here's the thing. Do I wish we could go back and just undo all of it? Yes. Do I think Biden was infirm the entire time? Yes. We can't do it, though. We can't do that. That's the problem. I wish we could do it, but we can't. So that's the problem. I want to do it, but I'm trying to tell you we can't. It's not going to work. He says, I thus ask you to launch an investigation or refer my request to another investigating body. He can't. How's he going to have the authority to investigate that? I don't see how it's going to work. To determine which of Biden's purported orders were knowingly issued by a competent president and which were not. How are you going to know? How do you know every order Biden issued? You don't even know. That's going to be a massive problem here. So, who has been running the country for the last few years? I wish we knew, and I think we'll find out. I fear that Biden, while he held the office, did so in name only as a mere puppet for far-left unelected staffers. I agree. Probably was. The people deserve to know the truth. We do. And like you said, we learned about that with Woodrow Wilson. We learned about that with Ronald Reagan, that Nancy was in charge of a lot of things. Yes, it's going to come out that Jill was in charge of a lot of shit. But probably not right now. Soon, though. Sooner the better. I call on you to investigate whether it was Biden or others who took action. If it's not Biden, the people should know whatever actions he took were void, and that's not going to happen. you have any questions, please contact my office. Respectfully, Andrew Bailey, Missouri Attorney General. So, yeah. I'm just telling you guys, nothing's going to happen there. This is nothing happens o'clock. Yes, Jill's involved in all the cabinet meetings. Yep, she was. She was. So I'm just telling you guys, we're not going to get what we want. We're not going to get what we want. So, hate to be that guy. Hate to be that guy. So Brimstone says an Egyptian immigrant that was raised in Canada and went to Canadian law school and appointed after Trump was elected gets to make judicial opinions. Yeah, I think that's a problem. I think you should be a natural-born citizen to be an Article 3 judge. I do think there should be a citizenship requirement, and I think it should be codified and enshrined in the Constitution. To be an Article 3 judge, you should be a natural-born U.S. citizen. Yeah. Yep. Think it should be. Only real Americans should be allowed in government. Yep. Once again, Article 3 judges should have to be natural-born citizens. Popcorn Power says, this stand because Congress voted the $2 billion expenditure as a part of the budget. Well, I mean, Congress said to do it, but it's the president's job to see stuff done. And yes, now the big thing is the take care clause. The president shall take care the laws are faithfully executed. It's like, it's all a scam. Am I wrong that any district judge now can force the president to fucking pay now? No, you're not wrong. Pretty much can do what he wants right now. Jim says the rumor is buried as NGO ties. She might, but she really has an aversion to granting interlocutory options. This fucked up court is going to ruin our lives. Oh, you have no fucking idea how bad they're going to let it get. Squizcar says ACB was a mistake. Women do not belong in law. Yeah, very true. Vawa says Sean enjoys watching us get fucked legally by corrupt ideological demons. Is that the type of cucking I engage in? Judicial cucking? We're aggressively monogamous, chat. Pseudosnark says, save it to the end if you want. Saw people saying censuring Congressman Green would violate the First Amendment. Can't the House enforce its own rules? But a constitutional problem? For the most part, yeah, I think they have the right to censure him. You have the right to free speech, but you don't have the time, place, and manner restrictions. You could be censured for violating House rules. So yes, this is another example of the House has internal rules and procedures. They govern themselves. Generally, people stay out of the way. The courts will not get involved in that. So it's a very good question, Pseudosnark. John Roberts would punt on first down. Very true. Very, very true. Panzer Dude says, I too listen to Tim Pool and Sargon. Oof. Oh, Sargon's got a little more bass lately. So, Maddie says, Sean, this is an intervention. We need you to work on losing some weight. We want many more years of your baseness. I appreciate it. I'm trying to work on that. I need to do better, and it's getting warmer out, so we can work on that. Jim Tells You. Jim, hope you're doing well. Guys, you can find Jim over at Jim Tells You over here on YouTube. Says the polls are strongly in Trump's favor. It's around the 70% approval mark. I agree. He's got the wind at his back, and the courts are going to fucking step on a landmine here. They're going to fuck themselves. The Wicked Woodby says, you're trying to get Athena adopted. Shadow is doing good as my service dog. Inspired is chilling. Well, Wookie, hope you're doing well. Hope your doggos are taking care of themselves. Well, you're taking care of those doggos, and they're doing good. Bama Law says, I give a President Jackson response. Well, Chief Justice Roberts, enforce your order now that you have it. I agree. Sleazy is saying, Sean, I said she's a trained member of Velia. She'll be there Monday. Chat. We got to have a discussion here. We got to have a discussion, chat. That this is something we have to discuss. I am not a foamer. I'm not a foamer. Oh, my God. As I said, this is a personal hell that I built. Brimstone saying, why is Ben Shapiro asking for Derek Chauvin to get pardoned? That's only going to cause damage to Trump without any benefit. Yeah, I don't see the political. It's burning a lot of political capital. Maybe at some point he can do it, but yeah, I don't see it happening now. Maybe if Trump or Chauvin were to get a new trial in Minnesota, I could see that, but we'll see. Giggle Mingo Fanta says, remind me the last time again a judge got impeached. It's been a long time. I mean, it's only happened 8 times total. It's only happened. So in 1984, there was a judge. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. He was impeached by the House and he got removed. That's the last time it's happened. It's happened like 8 or 9 times total. So it's been over 40 years since it happened. But the judge falsified his income tax returns. Like, Jesus Christ, man, you're making good money as a federal judge. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Giggle Mango Fanta saying ACB made her decision. Now let her enforce it. Yes. Yes. Clearly ACB is under Kayla Zaniark. Sad. Peter Key says, I'm loving Blaine Pardo's Land and Sea books. I read his Mech Warriors stuff. Same Blaine guy. Yes. The same Blaine Pardo. You can find out future conflicts. Blaine is really fucking based. More importantly, Blaine is Blaine, not Bane. Not Bane. No. Blaine is very intelligent. I enjoy listening to him. It's neat when you're on stream with these guys. I kind of feel like the biggest fucking idiot in the room. I just love being there. Those guys are so smart. When I can listen to them, I do. There's a lot of knowledge those guys have. There's a lot of knowledge they impart. A lot of wisdom. So take advantage of it if you can, guys. Take advantage of it if you can. So Giggle Mega Fanta again says, here is a cursed scenario. I don't know if I like this. You can replace any SCOTUS justice with only one of the following: Baldo, Rustard, or Sex Pestany. Who do you swap? I'll replace Ketanji Brown Jackson with Russell Greer. Because all Russell Greer is going to do is talk about how he wants to, he'll be like, opposing counsel was very cute. I should, that's all he's going to be worried about is fucking hookers. So he'll be out of the way. That'll be the best one to do. And at that point, if he doesn't vote, it's now, a 5-2 Supreme Court or, 6-2 Supreme Court, 5-3, 6-2. Like, there's advantages to having Russell Greer there. Justin Hancock says DC needs to get served with a writ of habeas explosive. Yes. Yamal says Obama used more executive authority than anyone. Yeah, well, hey, it's gone up, chat, since the beginning. I mean, George Washington did a lot of executive action. Thomas Jefferson bought Louisiana. He never had permission for that. He cut a check for it on his own. The idea that executive power has always pretty much gone up. It's like the hill climber in Price is Right. Just do. Now, once again, we get to World War II, and it goes like this. Like a rocket. But it's always been increasing. It was increasing under Trump, and then it increased under Biden, and now it's going to increase even more. Like, it's not stopping. So, just something to say there. Tim Beattie is saying the D.C. District Court, the Court of Appeals, does not want a unitary executive theory case going up. Yep, but guess what's going to happen? It's going there because either way, somebody's not happy with it. And the left thinks they can challenge Trump, and Trump thinks he can take them on. So we'll find out. Sula is saying, who was the greatest politician in Ohio history and why was it James Traficant? Well, Jim Traficant actually was not Traficante. He's not Cuban. It's Jim Traficant. Jim Traficant, when he was the sheriff of Mahoning County, Ohio, refused to serve eviction notices on people in the winter because he wasn't kicking people out in the 70s. Made national headlines for it. He also was indicted in a RICO case, and he represented himself. He's the only person in the history of the United States to go pro se in a RICO trial and win. He got acquitted. True stories. True stories. Gigo Mako Fanta says, God, we're doing fuck, marry, kill again here. Is there a lawsuit you'd like to see come forth in due time? And what and who would you like to see? Ethan Klein versus Hassan Piker. Destiny versus the Farms. Section 230 would knock that one out right away. So we can't consider that. Ralph versus anybody. Commentary community, groomers, etc. Ethan Klein and Destiny would be fucking hilarious. I want them to tear each other apart. Let them fight. Let them fight. Let them fight. That would be perfect. That would be perfect. David Hold, how you doing, man? Is saying, thank you for being here, by the way. We got 387 people here tonight. Thank you, guys. Saying if they could impeach Trump when he was out of office, why couldn't they impeach Biden and remove him from his whole term, voiding everything he did? It wouldn't void everything he did. If you're the president and you get impeached and you're removed from office, maybe that action you take that they're going to cite, but they can't say like everything you did and it all gets wiped out. Like you can't undo everything. It doesn't work that way. So it doesn't work that way. And then even if like it doesn't. I understand what you're saying, guys. I'm just trying to tell you, it can't be undone. It's like if you pull a thread on a sweater, you can't really reweave it. You're kind of fucking it up as you go. Brimstone says, can we do a group project? Why don't we file some federal lawsuits we can crowdfund the cost? Shoot me an email, man. Maybe there's something we could do. I don't know. Maybe we can do some stuff. Hey, Sean, with spring right around the corner, you ready for riot season, or did USAID fund that? Well, I'm sure they funded the pallets of bricks that kept showing up everywhere, because that's a thing that happened. We know that's a thing that happened. Now, with that said, chat, speaking of spring, we have some great things to talk about, chat. We got sponsors tonight. TheDragonsTreasure.com. Use a promo code CRIMINAL. 10% off your teas, soaps, or coffee. And then in addition to that, chat, speaking of springtime, you make me feel so young, like spring itself has sprung. You could stop by maf-arms.com, chat, maf-arms.com. Get your wind chimes and wind chime accessories ready for spring. Make sure the neighborhood knows you're there. Make sure they hear you with your wind chimes at maf-arms.com. Promo code POTCRIM for 10% off. Then last but not least, chat, is Stoney's Bar and Grill, chat. That's right, Stoney's for 30 years over at 1580 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. Yes, it's Stoney's, home of the $2.50 cans, chat. They are still on their winter hours. Thursday, they open at 1 p.m. Happy hour will be from 4 to 7. There has been no acknowledgement of what's going on yet for the weekend, but you can have one of their famous Bloody Marys, hang out there, enjoy yourself. They chat. The sad thing is here, it's Wednesday night. They're open till midnight. So you got about, a little under 2 hours. You got 2 hours and 15 minutes if you can get there, chat. Get out there, tie one on. That's at Stoney's Bar and Grill. Yes, if you want to destroy my sweater, whoa. Alyssa Clip's already clipping based, Alyssa. Yes, Alyssa, guys. Alyssa Clip's out there doing God's work. Get her a coffee. She needs it. Sula says, I listen to Future Conflicts every morning with my coffee and doob. Well, there you go. There you go. Michael SOS. Thank you for being here, Michael. I don't think I've seen you around, so welcome. It says, AMAS. All mods are scum. No exceptions. Never forget. When you have an argument like that, it's hard to disagree. I'm just saying, makes sense to me. I fully understand it. So, I fully understand it, chat. Oh, it's playing with the paint. It's bottle paint, chat, not thermite paint. It's not thermite paint. This is light sea blue. We're going to try to paint the bottom of the Sturmovik with this. Bella says, I think when they tried to kill Kavanaugh and his kids and the feds got a hold of those plans to kidnap and kill her kids and hurt them and freaked her out and she should resign. Yeah. Yes. Let's see here. Kitchen Knife Rescue says you stand on a platform of lies while waiting for the train to pull in the station. So Gary says, how could Trump pardon Chauvin anyway? Chauvin had a federal case he pled out to. So Trump could pardon that, but it would not relieve the state level crime. So that's how that would work. Vaping your paint already, yeah. Huffing acrylic paint. That's funny, chat. What's it called when you reduce the Supreme Court down to the Chief Justice? I don't know if that's a joke. I don't know the answer. You seem to dislike train gifts. What about arachnid models? I would rather get trains than arachnids. So, no, we're not going to do that. Yamal says, I thought it was the thing the president could do. Never mind. No. What can happen there, chat, is the Judiciary Act. The Congress passes the Judiciary Act. All courts under Article 3, except for the Supreme Court, are removable. And in chat, if you guys have never seen this, we'll pull up Article 3 here. And we'll just get to this here so you guys can see this. So, Article 3. Judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may establish, may ordain from time to time, ordain and establish. So there you go. So what does this mean? The Supreme Court is the only court that's protected. And the only person on the Supreme Court that's protected is the Chief Justice. So that's only one man only one man has power in the Constitution. John Roberts. The Judiciary Acts that Congress may establish. Congress could repeal the Judiciary Act tomorrow and abolish every federal court in America. The Court of Appeal, the Court of Claims, all of them, DC Circuit, all 12 other circuits. Just all 93 federal district courts. Like Kaiser Sose, just gone. Like Thanos, snapping the Infinity Stones. By passing the Judiciary Act through Senate and the House and then Trump signing it, they would be all gone. And then Congress the next day could pass another Judiciary Act, reinstituting all those courts, and then Trump has to fill every vacancy. And it's all fucking constitutional. It's all 100% legal. Do the bugs in Starship Troopers trigger you? No, because you get to fucking kill them. So yes, the good bugs are dead bugs. Your case has been reassigned to May 22nd, 3522. Yes. Now that's not going to happen, chat. It's not going to happen. Guys, do not buy. Please, Stabby, don't do shit like that. I will fucking throw those things away because I will not bring those into my house. It scares me. Panzer Dude says FDR in control over the Senate and House. That's why he threatened them. Yeah, but FDR found out that they would probably impeach him if he tried to do it. FDR was kind of playing a game of chicken, and yeah, the Supreme Court chickened out. But I don't know if he would have been able to get that far. All constitutional, but does seem dangerous. How bad can it be? Well, that's the thing. I don't want to do it. I don't like, as much as I want to play that game, that means the next time the Democrats get all three, control, they could do it again. It's like, I don't want that. I don't want that. Remember, when you abuse it, they can abuse it against you. So, yeah. Yes, it's an ugly planet. It's an ugly planet. A bug planet. Oh my gosh, chat. Gig Omega Fantasy says, fuck, marry, kill. A beef brisket, spare ribs, or smoked chicken. Well, brisket, like, if it's a good brisket, it's hard to beat, man. a really like an award-winning brisket. I'm not talking about like a Talmudically prepared one, but a real good brisket, like a Texas brisket. Or actually, I will say, best brisket I ever had was in Kansas City, probably in 2006, and it was Kansas City barbecue. It was like amazing, amaze balls. I think it'd be good. So, beef brisket is the hands down winner if it's done right. Yes, Harry Reid played with fire. And that's where we are now. Yes. Harry Reid played with fire and we just pushed everything through. We did what we wanted. So I could have Ruckle come down and kill the spiders with the flamethrower, yeah. Panzer Dude says, have you ever had a lot of Talmudic brisket? I've had it before. It's okay. But like it's not as good as a barbecue brisket. KC barbecue is amazing with a brisket. Although I've had Texas brisket before. It's been, a really good brisket is amazing. It's not as good. A really good brisket, though, is still not as good as like a strip steak from the supermarket. A well-cooked steak is still better than any brisket or really any barbecue. A properly cooked steak is hard to beat. And I'm talking about, like I said, you get the losers from the Kentucky Derby, cook it right, get a little salt, a little pepper, you get some rosemary and thyme on it. You get a sear on it. Get a little butter, based. Better than any barbecue. Steak is the king. They would never dissolve the courts because Null has to suffer through Russell Greer becoming stronger. Yes. It's your burden. He has to do it, chat. A New York strip is not better than the best barbecue. A well-cooked steak can be. You made Alfredo and chicken cutlets, so there you go. That's some good stuff. You can throw a brisket in a Dutch oven, yeah. Smoked brisket's the best, though. I should be impeached for that opinion. Yeah, well, deal with it. Suffer, chat! Suffer! Peyton says Ruckle needs a help to find his way out of British North America. Yeah. Where's our Greer update? We'll get to that this week. EDW Raptor says, hey, Foamer, what Amtrak train do you like more? The Siemens AS64. The Siemens ACS 64. Okay. And I'm looking at that one. Or the GE Genesis P40 DC. GE Genesis. Wow, it knew right away what I was looking for here. I don't know. The Genesis looks more based. Looks bigger. That's actually like the locomotive. It's a diesel locomotive. It's more powerful anyway. So yeah, we'll go with that one. So, but yes, we'll do Russell Greer on Friday night because I've got it all set now. I got all the documents down. And apparently Russell responded to something today. I did not get a chance to read that. So, pork butt is delicious. Yes, like pork butt is great. The one thing I haven't tried that I've seen, especially on like TikTok and YouTube, is burnt ends. I'm going to try that this year because I'm going to try to make some burnt ends. Those look so fucking good. Have I been to the famous steakhouse in Daytona? No. I'm doing a bit. Yeah, that's it. It's all a work. We know you know those trains on top, man. No, I don't. I had to Google them. Oh my gosh. I had it cached already. Oh. So, no. I think burnt ends, those are the ones you see people at the end of their videos smashing them all up and there's a bunch of fat in there. I'll try those. Okay. So, somebody had a comment. I think I missed it here. Did I see Destiny finally got lawyers? Yes. After nearly 2 weeks of fucking nothing, they finally showed up, which means he never had them in the first place. It took him 2 weeks to retain them, which means he never had them. That tells you a lot, chat. But anyways, we'll see what happens. He's apparently got, they're pretty high profile. They've represented a lot of people involved in Me Too stuff. So it's like, there you go. We'll see what happens. I'm sure they're going to tell him to cut a check soon. So, but Raptor, thank you for the super chat. As much as it pains me to have to read it, and the accusations and the slander, thank you, that accompany it. Okay, the check is in the mail. Yeah. I thought Destiny was representing himself. No. It's just, I assumed he was going to get an attorney, but he just couldn't find one. So, let's see here. Grocery stores put pork butt on sale all the time. Oh, yeah. Very true. It's not slander if it's true. I got to say it like Null. Slaunder. I know. I noticed when he says that, too. He's so cute. Panzer Dude says, I'm a penny store. Well, I'm a penny lawyer. Yes. I am a penny lawyer. I'm a penny lawyer. Did I see the latest Joe Rogan episode with Ian Carroll on it? No, I did not. Sir Fitz says, did he hire Pisco? No, he hired attorneys out of Los Angeles who have pro-hocked Vichade in, but they've represented like Danny Masterson and other people. So, yeah. We should convince him to hire Nick and Ty Beard. All right, we're going to end here, chat. Ag is asking, is Russell's case in Utah or Florida? It is no, like, it went to Utah. It was in Utah. It went to La Floride. It very quickly got sent back to Utah. So, no, they are back in Mormonistan right now. Back in Mormonistan. So, we will there. So with that, chat, we are going to wrap up. Like I said, tomorrow night, we are going to hang out with Bob and Ali Mata doing some defense diary stuff. Probably going to talk about Karen Reed because, yeah, I listened to that as I was in and out of things today, driving around, taking care of stuff, and also listened to Emily Baker going through it. Holy shit. The prosecution is really fucking corrupt. And Trooper Proctor had all kinds of fucking hidden information and hidden exhibits on him, hidden video stuff. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yes, Destiny's spending a bunch of lawyers on an unwinnable case. We'll see. Gary says Mormonistan. Yes, the Mormons, the land of the Mormons, Mormonistan. Just like Tajikistan is the land of the Tajiks. Utah, the land of the Mormons. Stabby says, I don't know how Russell got a transfer to a jurisdiction he's not even in. He initially filed suit there in Utah. Null got it sent to Florida, and now it's back in Utah. So yes, Joseph Smithistan, yes. Doesn't Russell Greer live in Nevada? Yes, and that's an issue too, anyway. But don't you know that the police isn't part of the state? Yes. The Massachusetts State Police are not part of the prosecution or the Commonwealth. They tried to make that distinction, which the Supreme Court has said you can't do that. You're responsible for what they have. So, anyways, guys, we are going to move on. So we're wrapping up. We're hitting the landing gear here, putting the brakes down. Yes, Kirtland, Ohio, just down the road from me. Gives me warmer territory. Yep. So here we go, chat. Anyways, we are going to land. Like I said, there are some happenings. There are some good things here. Hampton Dellinger, suffer. You remember, chat, battle lines are being drawn. So hopefully we get some things shaking out of this. Chat, if you guys are new, remember tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern, Thursday night crime stream. We got a bunch to talk about, and we'll get into it there. With that, though, said, chat, you guys enjoy yourself. And remember, until next time, just because you got a TRO doesn't mean you get to keep your job. Suffer, Hampton Dellinger. Suffer. Keep that white pill, chat. Keep that white pill. Keep that dub. We got a dub today, baby. Got that dub. Good night, chat. Weapons black.
blacksmithing and models of planes, esoteric works and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy that Katie yelled